welcome to the Ola Hawatmet show on American One. Today, my special guest, Scott McJunkin from McJ Today. Scott, welcome.
Hello. How are you? I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that we could actually get together and do this. I know that we've been talking about it for a bit, and finally our schedules matched. And here we are.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to have you on. I mean, we get on the phone and we start talking about what's happening in America today, and it seems like every day issues just keep growing, and people keep making excuses why the issues are even there instead of, okay, how are we going to put a stop to what's happening?
Absolutely. I've seen every day is like just an unending stream of new news and opinions, and seeing things not only here in our own nation, but also across the world. We're seeing things that actually, if you spend too much time in the news, like I do this for a living, it can actually kind of get to you. But there are specific issues, I think, that need to be discussed a little bit more, because a lot of focus is being put on pet projects of what political party you ascribe to. But there are things that involve us directly, and most of all, those who have served our country, and they need to be discussed.
Absolutely. Illegals. I mean, every state in America, the population is growing, construction, apartment buildings, you see all of this growth, and people, come on, seriously? It's these illegals are being dumped from state to state, no job, okay? You want to give them a better life by giving them a free meal ticket on our backs and expect us not to say anything or be concerned or get fired up? No, it's time to get fired up. And now, I mean, I just found out, like yesterday, I had a friend of mine who is a veteran go into the VA clinic. There are signs clearly stating, show ID, make sure you have your ID ready. Gets to the front, gives her the ID, and she says, oh, we don't need your ID. No IDs necessary. No IDs necessary. I put this out there, and there are people that, I mean, it's insane. They make excuses telling me, why are you making illegals look bad? What's the proof that you have? Like, continuing making excuses. So today I put out a recording, and they're like, well, she said, we'll see if you're checked in. Again, making excuses. We cannot continue to make excuses for illegals.
That is an incredible story, especially whenever it comes to something like the VA, which is a benefit reserved only for those who have proudly served our country. And we could see this idea, this ID issue going across the country in almost every facet, and now it's gone into something like the VA. The ability to identify yourself as in any nation has been part of what, I mean, it happens all across the globe. You have to be able to identify yourself as a citizen of that country, and there are certain benefits that go along with that, with being a citizen and also being a veteran, being part of other groups, but that require identification. And the left has for so long vilified anybody that would require IDs, identification, being able to prove that you are who you say you are. And that only works for those on the left, because they are importing a whole new different voting bloc. And I don't think people understand how just massive the numbers are whenever it comes to illegals coming over from other countries. And it's not just Mexico. It's other countries are coming to Mexico and coming into us through Mexico. And so it's an enormous number that has the ability to reshape how districts are, the fundamental political makeup. And ultimately what it does, if you boil it all down, what it does is it dilutes the American citizens' ability power within their own government, either local or state or national.
Yep. And we see the effects. They refuse to put out real numbers. Real numbers. People, I mean, being raped, illegals, the criminal activity that's going on by illegals from state to state. How come we can't get those numbers out there for real?
I think if they got the numbers out there, it would definitely go against the narrative that the left has been spinning for years now, ever since really, I would say Bush, from what I can remember. I know it was a big issue in the Obama years, which eventually did get Trump elected. I think the illegal issue back in 2016 was one of the big issues that everybody wanted Trump to take care of. And he did. He to the greatest extent that he could handle the situation, he did, and the results speak for themselves. And the reason why people want they don't want to put the numbers out there is because it would go against what the left has been saying as far as justification for why Joe Biden hasn't done anything about the border. Because of course there are families coming over with young children, but it's not all. We are talking about criminal elements are involved in human trafficking, and along with that, they are bringing over people that we don't know. People that are prone to crime, obviously, because crime statistics have been going up, and these are things that the left doesn't really want people to really focus on, because they would rather redirect the conversation to something else. But this is a huge issue. It really is. I completely
agree. They're focused on how they are going to get elected and then reelected. So they're bringing them in. I mean, you don't need an ID in New York to vote. And now on our veterans' backs, I mean, that is what's disgusting, because there are no limits. They just keep pushing and pushing the boundaries and pushing the boundaries, where we are going to wake up, and that's my fear, is we're going to wake up in a third world country, and I don't want that to happen. And when patriots speak up, it's kind of like I see the numbers shrinking because everyone is so afraid. They're so afraid because they're threatened. They may lose their job. They're afraid of for their family's safety. I mean, so I encourage others to definitely speak up. I mean, I only fear God. We need to speak up, because when you lose your freedom, what else is there?
You said it absolutely right. I think whenever we talk about illegal immigration coming over and allowing these people to stay, there's several things happening, and you could actually look at New York and see what would happen. New York always said it was or New York City specifically, said it was a sanctuary city, that they would welcome everybody, the tired and the poor, the whole Statue of Liberty thing. But whenever it came to it, whenever they got a very small fraction of the amount of illegals that states like Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, even California have had to bear, they cannot handle it. It's overrun the city services, and the mayor has gone from a staunch, we're going to welcome these people, and we're going to do the New York way thing, to now saying it's going to break the city, it's going to cripple the city. We need federal assistance.
Absolutely,
it is not sustainable in any way. And the conversation, I think, nationally has kind of gotten away from that. But I believe conservatives need to focus in on this and make it an issue. And as you said, don't be afraid. A lot of people, they're scared about being ridiculed and stuff. On the left, the only thing that they believe in is the message. And they're willing to do whatever it takes to get their message out. And conservatives, like it for better or worse, we are very individualistic. And we're not prone to confrontation in a group way like the Democrats are. I mean, the Democrats are extremely, extremely well organized in that way. And I think that we need to believe in our message and say, no, this is a big deal. This is going to change this is not only going to change our culture, this is going to change how people even view America. Are we proud to be an American? Are we proud to live here? And also the rule of law. It devalues what our police and law enforcement are doing, and making them incapable of actually enforcing laws.
Absolutely. We were talking about this yesterday. I mean, defunding the police, defunding, I mean, you were talking about an issue, a firefighter, they couldn't, I mean, they want to defund everything that helps protect us. And then they want to bring in illegals that are bringing in drugs, that are, you know, human trafficking and everything that's hurting America. But we're supposed to be quiet and accept this? Absolutely not. We cannot accept this. We cannot accept this. And I feel like coalitions need to be created from state to state. And how do you create them? We need backbones. We need leaders. We need actually ethical leaders that aren't in it for the agenda of themselves.
Unfortunately, I mean, you're absolutely right. But unfortunately, what we have seen is the left has used the justice system to block a lot of these efforts. Governors such as Greg Abbott, Ron DeSantis, and a host of other, I think it was 33 states in total. I'm probably wrong on that. But there's a huge grouping of states that actually got together and said, no more, like we are done. We demand that the federal government uphold their responsibility and secure our borders, because what is happening is nothing less than an invasion. I know that that can be construed as a hyperbole. However, I think that whenever you look at it, and we're talking tens and tens of millions of people, and we don't know who they are, we don't know where they're coming from, and that have no allegiance to America, to what we want as a nation. They're coming in because we've built a really great nation that could do more than what places like Mexico can do. And that's all that they care about. And what it does is it burdens every single city's resources. It takes away from American culture and values. And what it does is it only improves the left's ability to have a huge population that will vote Democrat for decades to come.
I totally agree with you. I completely agree.
And conservatives, we need to speak up.
Yeah, you look at the polls. I mean, aren't you shocked about the polls? I mean, I'd be shocked if I saw 10%. 10% for Biden, I would be shocked. I'd say, okay, where did these 10% come from? You know? And they look at the Latino, oh yeah, in Texas, they love him. They don't understand him. How do they understand one another? I mean, are you kidding me? They're all illegal.
They only like him because they allowed because Biden allowed the borders to be unregulated, to not be enforced, the laws not to be enforced, and for that they love him for it. Now, I don't wish anybody to live in poverty or bad situations, but there is a legal way to enter into the United States, and unfortunately, the United States is accomplice to. By not enforcing the laws, they are in a way an accomplice to a huge crime syndicate that's their business. I wonder how much of the economy in Mexico is human trafficking.
That's a good question. I wonder too. I know the numbers have increased in America. The numbers of everything that's negative have increased, and they wonder why. They can't connect it. They can, but they choose not to until after election, and then whatever serves their agenda. What's crazy is America, we are so far in debt. And how do we have the ability to give so much to illegals and free passes? I mean, it's insane.
It's insane. Whenever we have veterans that need help, when there are our own people in our community that need those services, but instead of directing those towards them, they're actually directing them to this surplus type of resources that just to cater to illegal immigrants coming into cities. And again, and it's all done secretively. The Biden administration is not open with it. They're putting people on planes in the middle of the night, sending them around.
I've been on that.
They're not talking about it, and it's something that is going to shift the entire electorate, the entire thing away from what America traditionally has been. And this goes along with my opinion of the left. And some people may agree with me or not, don't really care. I think that the left, especially the hard left,
Yep.
they really don't like America as it was and as it is. And frankly, any of the traditional values that I hold dear, they are actively going against. And it's a very strange attitude. And the best way I could describe it is simply Marxist. And the way to get rid of this traditional thing, this thing that Americans that are here, the citizens, the only way to get rid of our beliefs is to replace us, because we're not backing down. We're not going anywhere. But what they're trying to do is fill it up with numbers of people that will vote for them for decades to come, because they can't win. They can't win if they didn't do it any other way. The Democrats, they wouldn't be able to do it.
I agree with you, but I feel what's going to happen is these illegals are going to wake up one day and say, okay, we're done being used, and they're going to turn on them. And then what? Okay, so during COVID, how much was the stimulus check that everyone got? We shut down our businesses. We shut down everything. And what was the max? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
What was it? Everyone got what, 2,400 or 2,600? And we can give illegals more? I mean, every month?
It's incredible to think that a country that is supposedly so smart would allow I can't even comprehend the money that went into that. I mean, we could throw these numbers around, but just the volume of money that they took and gave to people that, I mean, like it or not, they're not going to American citizens. They're not going to our cities.
They got a debit card. They had an issue. I mean, I videotaped one day when I went to the Red Roof Inn in Poughkeepsie, New York, and I approached an illegal. It's crazy, with their money handler. And I said, is he illegal? And she's like, what can I help you with? I told her, I want to ask questions. Do you guys need help? She grabbed me aside. She said, well, I'm looking for a power washer and things like that. If you can help me with, I got her number. And some people, the contractors don't pay him, so I have to follow up with the contractors. I mean, are you kidding me? This is what's happening in America. So now these illegals are not happy with staying at the Red Roof Inn, but they still each have money handlers. And so now they give them, I think it's $1,000 a month on a debit card to use as they please. I mean, I want that.
For free.
Yeah, for free. They don't have to worry about inflation. They don't have to worry about taxes. They don't have to worry about anything. Bills, everything is free. How is that helping them?
This is something that I think every American needs. If you really look at the details and see what is happening state by state, it would enrage you. It would cause you into action. Because a lot of people, what we do is we sit around, like we go to our jobs, we go home, we have a meal, we go to sleep, and we don't want to think about what is actually happening. And that, I think, is what the left is counting on, is that we won't look at the problem. We won't look at the problem and actually say, hey, this shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be handing money out, my tax dollars, to people that came here illegally and do it on a massive scale. Whenever there's simple things like my own community that we have potholes that need to be filled, and police officers that need to be hired and trained. When we have our needs of our own and they're not being met, and inflation's running amok, and then all this money's going to them, we need to become vocal about that. And what I've seen. Now, I'm not part of the black community, but I know that in Chicago, this is a contentious issue, because the black community within certain neighborhoods of Chicago, they're realizing that there's some money that's not going towards their communities, and they're being redirected towards caring for these immigrants. And that's an interesting thing.
Crazy. It's
That would happen. So we have these people that need the money, that are Americans, that and there's only so much money to go around. There's only a finite amount of money for each city. And instead of taking care of Americans, we are taking care of people that frankly should not be here. If you're here illegally, you should not be here.
Completely agree. I mean, so it's not just
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen after years and years of saying defund the police and then now open up our borders? What is the simple mathematical equation that's going to happen at the end of that? More crime's going to go up.
Complete chaos, and illegals are going to take over America, and they're going to rebel against the government. Because there's only so much. Nothing in life is free. So yes, right now we are feeding you. We're giving you free health care. We're giving you debit cards. We're giving you food. And then once the government gets what they need from them, they're done with them. They get cut off when there's nothing, no more funds, nothing else. And then that's when they're going to turn on them. And that's going to be very scary.
Mm-hmm. That would be a future that it would be a difficult future. I think if that was going to happen eventually, there would undoubtedly be a new spending program that the Democrats would put up, and to take care of them. More money would be thrown at them because they want to keep that voting base happy.
Oh yeah. And look what's happening in the colleges. I mean, look at what's happening in the colleges. And this is they're targeting young America, but they're bringing in illegals. They're just in every single angle. They want to secure, the election, and they want to secure a win for them.
They can't win any other way. They can't.
No.
I think Biden has completely lost. Like the public has lost faith in Joe Biden. And if the Democrats were going to rely on Americans, only Americans, then they would definitely lose. They would 100% lose, even though they have the media, even though they have all the movies and the music and everything else. They have this huge infrastructure behind them. They would still lose, and they know that. And so they got to import people that don't care about where America has been and where it's going, that they want free stuff. And of course, they'll vote for whoever gives them free stuff. And that's the Democrats' play here. And it's sad. It really is sad, because I believe we can see in the next generation a complete transformative shift. If this doesn't stop a complete transformative shift in American culture.
Well,
that's perhaps what the Democrats want.
I completely agree. That's why we never give up and we never give in, and we continue to fight. The left cannot win the legal way because they are not for Americans, and everything that they do shows. Thank you so much, Scott, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
What's your show link?
If you go to American One, it's on the show page. It is McJ Today or tomorrow. I put up videos kind of infrequently, so that's why it has or tomorrow on there. But I would really appreciate anybody that would go and check me out and check out my YouTube page and all that. I really do appreciate any support.
I appreciate you coming on. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Ola.